flying off the shelves after a chemical spill near Bristol. And in sports, Ohio football looking ahead towards the next season. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Brenna Nye. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. Several southeast Ohio communities are still cleaning up from this weekend's windstorm. In Gallia County, the students of Gallia Academy Middle School got the day off today after the school's roof was blown off. Cleanup efforts started yesterday and continued into today. Damage assessment will determine when students will be back in school. Gallia County isn't the only area seeing damage from weekend storms. The cities of Athens, Chillicothe, Pomeroy, and more saw power outages due to the severe winds. AEP Ohio says the majority of southeastern Ohio will not see complete power restoration until Wednesday, but Crooksville, Chillicothe, and South Point will have full restoration tomorrow. We're joined by lead forecaster Aaron Ashley, who has more. Aaron, can you tell us more about these conditions over the weekend and how we're still dealing with these effects coming into this week?
Brenna, I don't know about you, but my power was flickering on and off all day Saturday, and it just seemed like it wouldn't end. And I'm the lucky one. I still have power, and I still have power now, especially after seeing all that video. It's just ridiculous what everyone was seeing, you know?
Yeah, I know. It was a little weird. It was flickering. I was like, oh, just please stay on.
I know. Like I said, we're some of the lucky ones, but if we look at what's happening right now outside on College Green, we're looking at very pleasant conditions contrary to what we have over the weekend. Luckily, again, nothing but clear skies right above us right now, and that sun is still shining, welcoming in some nice spring conditions. We had a little bit of a breeze earlier, but that has since moved on as we look into the rest of tonight. We saw mostly cloudy skies, and that temperature climbed pretty high, up into the upper 50s as we get deeper and deeper into that springtime actually. That high is actually going to start getting warmer and warmer. So this is looking a little bit more seasonal, thankfully, as we approach the early April days. That low, however, is looking a little bit chilly. Grab your jacket heading out the door tonight. We had a couple showers move through this morning. Those have since moved out towards the east, and we are welcoming these nice clear skies. And if we go ahead and zoom it in a little bit further, again, not much happening out here, but I'll let you know in my full forecast what we might expect this upcoming weekend with an incoming storm. Back to you at the desk, Brenna.
Thank you, Aaron. A community in Clark County is grieving a tragic loss after a family of 4, including 2 children, are identified as victims in a fatal house fire. Officials identified the victims as Jeffrey and Talina Hawk, their 2 children, Amelia and Javen, ages 14 and 12. The Clark County Fire Chief said the blaze was insurmountable and the home was already engulfed in flames when authorities arrived. Fire officials say the cause of the fire is still under investigation, but the heavy winds into Sunday morning didn't help in preventing the spread. Classmates at Jackson Memorial Middle School and others around the community are dealing with this tragedy.
Best friend, and I'll miss him so much. I just can't believe that he's gone.
The schools expressed their condolences in a newsletter describing both Amelia and Javen as having infectious smiles that will be greatly missed. A boil order is in effect for the Sunday Creek Valley Water District, urging residents to treat or boil water before consumption. The order covers East Scatter Ridge, Lake Hill Road to State Route 690, Thompson Ridge, and Buckley Run. A main line was hit, but the problem was fixed soon after. The order remains standing to allow time for the water samples to be processed. A man is behind bars after allegedly stabbing his grandmother. Jackson County Sheriff's deputies have identified the suspect as 26-year-old Dylan Waters. A 911 call came in around 4 a.m. Saturday morning in Madison Township for a woman with stab wounds. Deputies found the 70-year-old victim with multiple wounds. She was transported to a hospital for treatment of her injuries. Waters fled the scene, but deputies took him into custody after finding him in Jackson after 8 a.m. Charges for Waters are pending following the investigation. Over $3 billion in funding is coming to public housing authorities from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The grants come from the department's Capital Fund program. Nearly 2,770 housing authorities will use the money to fund large-scale improvements like replacing roofs and installing upgraded heating systems. The Chillicothe Gazette reports 48 communities around Ohio received a total of $113,606,571. Coming up, Philly officials are urging residents to drink bottled water. Plus, yet another fatal school shooting. How officials are responding. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
这是我的村庄。几百年前，这里的女人创造了一种男人看不懂的文字，叫做女书。有时会纠结以后要怎么做，因为我们现在是一个父权语境嘛。
它有高度，问题是怎么去利用这种高度？
你不打不成老板，不可能的，你永远做奴隶。
有句哈写的是“男儿有志在千里，娇娘岂可让须眉”。
Hidden Letters, Monday, March 27th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
American Masters Profiles celebrated Solstice Roberta Flack.
Yeah.
She rose from classically trained
I always dreamed of stardom.
to social justice storyteller with songs that were ahead of their time.
She was literally everywhere because her music went everywhere.
Check out Roberta
The story just goes on and on and on.
American Masters.
Friday at 10 on WOUB.
On American Experience.
We should not risk a nuclear war in Vietnam.
We learned pretty quickly that Nixon's secret plan was to threaten the North Vietnamese with nuclear weapons.
There was a feeling like, what do we do next?
We didn't think revolution was in the air. We didn't think the United States is going to change overnight.
We were part of a long train of people trying to make things right.
The Movement and the Madman on American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Was Einstein wrong?
They said the world simply can't operate that way.
Quantum mechanics.
We're left with conclusions about the universe that make no sense.
Key to our most advanced technology, yet shattering the laws of space and time.
Even if they're very far apart, in a way they're always coordinated.
Have scientists finally found the answer?
Everything is possible.
To Einstein's quantum riddle on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Stores are being stripped of water after a chemical spill near Bristol, Pennsylvania. That spill has caused many residents to be nervous about the safety of Philadelphia's drinking water. Laura Aguirre has more on today's testing efforts and who is on the hook to clean up the spill.
There was contamination in the Delaware River, but we shut off the intake to the river.
Thousands of gallons of industrial chemicals poured into the river Friday in Bristol, Pennsylvania, near a key intake point for Philadelphia's water.
There was never any contamination in Philadelphia Water Department's system.
But this water safety warning, blasted out by the city Sunday, urged people to use bottled water instead.
Probably 50, 60 people long waiting to get water.
Many store shelves throughout the city were quickly wiped clean. Hours after the first warning, the city tweeted the water was safe, no need to buy bottled.
You look what those people went through in Ohio. It's the same, they believed it too. And then look what happens.
One of the 3 chemicals spilled was the same one found at the site of a highly toxic train derailment in Ohio last month. So far, not detected in Philadelphia's water. The company behind the river spill blames equipment failure.
Our responsibility is we will clean it up. We take full responsibility.
We have enough water within the system, which we are clear has no contamination.
Their tweet Sunday assuring residents downstream of the spill that tap water was safe to drink, at least until midnight Monday. Other experts still urge caution.
We don't have time in these few hours since the spill to do the full toxicological scientific study. So just in the interests of public safety, as this plume is passing, don't drink the water.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Philadelphia officials are expected to update the city's water condition after midnight tonight. Trinzio PLC says it's dedicating all of its resources to cooperate fully with all federal, state, and local authorities in the emergency response. A devastating school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee this morning leaves at least 6 dead, including 3 children. It happened at a private Christian elementary school called Covenant. Police say the victims are 3 students and 3 adults. The shooter, identified as a 28-year-old Nashville woman and former student, was fatally shot by police at the scene. She was armed with 2 assault rifles, a handgun, and is said to have had maps of the property. Police are calling it a targeted attack. Now the White House is calling on Congress for change.
Once again, the president calls on Congress to do something before another child is senselessly killed in a preventable act of gun violence. Again, we need to do something.
The incident is the 19th shooting at a school or university so far this year in which at least 1 person was wounded, and that's according to a CNN tally. The rate of children diagnosed with autism in the U.S. has been rising steadily since 2000, and new data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show this continues to be the case. Mandy Gaither has a look at the latest numbers.
At first glance, it's a disturbing trend in the U.S. In 11 communities across the country that are monitored by the CDC, more children are being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
2.8% of children, or 1 in 36, were identified as having autism.
Matthew Maynor with the CDC says 5 years ago in those same communities, 1 in 44 children were diagnosed with autism by age 8, up from 1 in 150 children in 2000.
Black, Hispanic, and Asian Pacific Islander children had a higher prevalence of autism compared to white children.
The CDC believes the rising numbers don't necessarily mean there are more cases of autism, but that screening tools are catching more of them, especially in minority populations.
Children with autism are a significantly underserved population in our country.
Pediatric psychologist Eric Butter with Nationwide Children's Hospital says this data shows that we're heading in the right direction when it comes to diagnosing autism.
The health equity and disparity issues are beginning to show some promise.
Early detection is critical. The Autism Speaks organization says treatment has a greater impact when children are young.
This report also is a call to action for us to develop more culturally informed intervention services that are able to meet these families where they are at.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Another CDC report released last week shows the U.S. suffered setbacks in early detection of autism during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The researchers say the data may help communities come up with ways to help children who got a delayed autism diagnosis. Israel's prime minister is postponing votes to reform the country's judicial system amid widespread protests. Hundreds of thousands of people have been protesting the plan, giving the government the power to overrule Supreme Court decisions and appoint judges. The country's largest trade union called for a general strike, shutting down everything from restaurants to airports. Today's demonstrations followed a chaotic weekend sparked by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision to fire his defense minister after he spoke out against the planned legislation. Communities are beginning the cleaning process after a deadly storm rips through parts of the South. That story's still ahead.
And where temperatures are headed this weekend in my full forecast, but make sure you check us out on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, as well as Twitter.
这是我的村庄。几百年前，这里的女人创造了一种男人看不懂的文字，叫做女书。
有时候会纠结以后要怎么做，因为我们现在是一个父权语境嘛。
它有高度，问题是怎么去利用这种高度。
你不敢，你怎么敢？不可能的，你永远做奴隶。有句哈，写的是“男儿有志在千里，娇娘岂可任须眉”。
Hidden Letters, Monday, March 27th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
What? On Finding Your Roots, Jim Acosta.
Your preconceived notions of where you came from, who you are, doesn't mean squat.
And Van Jones.
I knew that my dad's side of the family had a rougher path.
Finding a founding family in Cuba.
I wonder if they even know. I'm sure they don't know.
And a DNA match.
You would never guess in a million years.
That's nuts! Finding Your Roots. New episode March 28th on PBS and the PBS app.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, which tales about family heirlooms are true and which are false?
We think they may be Benjamin Greenleaf, but I'm not sure of that. My mother-in-law was given to hyperbole.
It's never been buried, and
Don't mind, I'm gonna cry. Don't miss Antiques Roadshow. Did Grandma lie?
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
On American Experience.
We should not risk a nuclear war in Vietnam.
We learned pretty quickly that Nixon's secret plan was to threaten the North Vietnamese with nuclear weapons.
There was a feeling like, what do we do next?
We didn't think revolution was in the air. We didn't think the United States is going to change overnight.
We were part of a long train of people trying to make things right.
The Movement and the Madman on American Experience.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back, and it's been one of those days in which you think you know what you're going to dress and wear for the rest of the day, and then you end up taking it off. At least that's how it's been for me. We've had temperatures kind of all over the place. Right now we're looking at temperatures that were in the mid to upper 50s. Overnight we had that low, in the mid 30s. We quickly warmed up this morning into the 60s, so we had some pretty all-around temperatures today. But again, pulling up the live radar, we had very clear skies after a few showers this morning that made its way through the northern part of our viewing area, but right now we're just smooth sailing into the rest of the night, and it'll be that way for the next couple of days. Mostly cloudy skies today. Again, in that high reached the upper 50s. That low tonight's looking a little chilly. Grab the jacket. A little bit above freezing, and winds are going to play a little bit of a factor as well. So let's look a little bit deeper into what's happening up there. We had a low pressure move through earlier on today, and that's what brought that chance for rain. We didn't see a whole lot of showers here in Athens personally, but again, we saw more showers up towards the north of us with that pressure just moving out towards the east. And look out here, we got dominating high pressure right here and just overall clear skies. So again, looking at a nice couple of days, there's those showers once again, and again, more clear skies just headed our way. Overall, we're looking pretty nice the next couple of days. 34 again, grab the jacket tonight. Mostly cloudy skies due to that low pressure still moving throughout towards our east, but again, we're looking at our next peaks of sun as soon as tomorrow. And so again, cloudy skies, peaks of sun as the day goes on and that high pressure settles. That high isn't going to get too warm as we saw today, and even the day before, it's going to be a little bit chillier than that. And then the low as well, is you're going to want the jacket tomorrow, especially. We're going to dip below freezing, and winds are going to play a factor, make this feel even chillier heading throughout the rest of the night tomorrow. So if we go ahead and look about what's happening right now, not too much, and even if we go ahead and fast forward a little bit into tomorrow night, high pressure and just making things all nice and clear, and it's going to stick around well into the week. So go ahead and look at the 3-day outlook. There's that peak of sun happening as soon as tomorrow as the day goes on. Those clouds are going to roll on out, and those temperatures are going to climb as a result as your daytime highs are going to reach the upper 50s, even to low 60s on Thursday. Go ahead and look at your weekend. We're tracking our next chance for storms as soon as Friday, and those temperatures are still going to be climbing. Contrary, it's going to look like it's going to feel really nice, but those rain showers are going to make things feel a little more bleak. So go ahead and look at the 7-day outlook. Enjoy the sun while you can, because again, it's not going to last forever. Back to you at the desk, Brenna.
Thank you, Erin. Communities are beginning the long cleanup process after violent storms killed 26 people and injured dozens in the South. Ivan Rodriguez reports on work to rebuild from the ground up.
Say, like a lazy Susie of a smoker.
Even though Joshua Haynes can't do much to physically build back the city of Rolling Fork, Mississippi, it didn't stop him from wanting to help a community in pain, one meal at a time.
I told my wife yesterday, hey, we ought to just go cook for him.
Haynes and his friends weren't the only ones wanting to help. It's the kind of gesture those who lost everything could appreciate.
And I can't find anything at all.
For Erwin Macon,
really can't recognize most of this stuff.
Everything he had was taken in an instant when the tornado that tore through this trailer park also claimed his home.
A lot of people are in a whole lot worse shape than I am. You know, losing everything, one thing, but being injured, some loss of life.
A new satellite image showing the deep scar through the town left by the tornado, a stunning sight for those in the community.
There's nothing here. There's nothing here but a lot of wood, bricks, and rubbish. There's nothing here.
And even though all Macon could salvage from his property was a suitcase and a pair of sneakers, he also isn't giving up.
To come through this here, there is God.
In Rolling Fork, Mississippi, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
After seeing the damage yesterday afternoon, the director of Federal Emergency Management Agency says right now the greatest issue is housing everyone whose home was lost or damaged. The air travel system is continuing to struggle, and spring break travelers are worried about flying. The Federal Aviation Administration warns travelers of staffing shortages, saying a major New York airport is at 54% staffing. 20% of travelers registered through a travel site called Hopper are buying extra trip protection because of cancellation and delay worry. In addition to delays, airfare rates are up 4% since 2019, but industry figures say 158 million Americans will continue to fly over spring break. As more quick service restaurants like coffee shops and fast food are giving customers the options to tip, fewer and fewer Americans are coughing up the cash. Chris Wynn explains just what's going on.
18% gratuity is already included in the bill. Girl, it's water.
Across social media, a backlash to the growing number of quick service restaurants like Starbucks and Panera asking customers to tip. It's up 11% from pre-COVID levels, according to data from Toast, a restaurant management software company.
You had a tip at the bottom? A tip? For what?
That's a little too crazy for me, and I refuse.
The average tipping percentage at these places is down, dropping to just below 16%. Professor Depayan Biswas has studied tipping for a decade. He says this new tipping trend started with the boom of digital kiosks.
That's when these businesses realized they can put in a tipping option and earn a lot of money. If you're adding 10%, 20%, that's a huge jump in revenue for a lot of these businesses. And the digital interface facilitated that.
He's concerned the backlash could spread to other services.
That's my biggest worry, that it might actually affect the industry where it really matters the most, the full-service restaurants where the servers don't even make minimum wage.
I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
Coming up in sports, Ohio football is looking ahead towards next season with multiple returns and key starting roles. And be sure to take tunes at WOUB. Here's what's to look coming up tonight on your local television station.
Was Einstein wrong?
They said the world simply can't operate that way.
Quantum mechanics.
We're left with conclusions about the universe that make no sense.
Key to our most advanced technology, yet shattering the laws of space and time.
Even if they're very far apart, in a way they're always coordinated.
Have scientists finally found the answer?
Everything is possible.
To Einstein's quantum riddle on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
For those born in the Rocky Mountains, the adventure has just begun. It's time to grow up, test your limits, discover what you were born to do. But a daunting challenge lies ahead. Your first winter. The skills you'll need have been passed down from generation to generation. This is how you thrive when you're born in the Rockies.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, which tales about family heirlooms are true and which are false?
We think they may be Benjamin Greenleaf, but I'm not sure of that. My mother-in-law was given to hyperbole.
It's never been buried, and...
If you don't mind, I'm gonna cry. Don't miss Antiques Roadshow. Did Grandma lie?
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
这是我的村庄。几百年前，这里的女人创造了一种男人看不懂的文字，叫做女书。有时候会纠结以后要怎么做，因为我们现在是一个父权语境嘛。
它有高度，问题是怎么去利用这种高度？
你不敢成为不可能的，你永远做奴隶。有句哈，写的是“男儿有志在千里，娇娘岂可让须眉”。
Hidden Letters, Monday, March 27th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Welcome back, I'm Peyton Brooker. As spring training kicks off, Ohio football is already making preparations towards next season. Last year, the Bobcats had a run of success, making it all the way to the MAC championship and winning the Arizona Bowl game against Wyoming. For fall 2023, the Bobcats are expecting a lot of players coming for one more season. Quarterback Curtis Work is expected to return as the starter after a season-ending knee injury. Linebacker Bryce Houston is also decided to stay in Athens for one more season.
Just took that time over break, to assess my situation, talk to family, spend time with, the people who care about me and stuff like that, and just think about what's best for me and the rest of the program.
Head coach Tim Albin says he is right now taking time to look for challenges ahead and take one step after another.
I'm not saying that we're at the top, but we all know that our game will be circled, and we've earned that. And so I think as a football team, we're gonna accept the challenge and put our best foot forward, and just like last year, continue to take games one at a time.
The Bobcats will continue their preparation in the spring as they wait to kick off in August. On the diamond, Ohio baseball would split their doubleheader against Northern Illinois. Over the weekend, the Bobcats battled it out in their first game in a scoring frenzy. Ohio was down by 10 in the first inning, but would turn the tables against the Huskies, slowly inching their way back, taking the lead in the fourth inning. A total of 4 Bobcats would have a home run, helping them to win game 1. But the Huskies' energy would not run out going into game 2, carrying them into 11-1 victory. As for Ohio's softball team, they would complete their 3-game sweep against Bowling Green on Sunday. The third game against the Bobcats proved to be the toughest one, as the match would go tied at 1 going into the 7th inning. The Bobcats would make a hefty 5-run rally in the 7th, leading to a 6-1 victory. Skip Miller would make an impressive start on the mound, pitching all 7 innings with 7 strikeouts to add to the win. With this victory, the Bobcats remain close in the MAC standings, sitting now in 3rd. And finally, action on the field will return home in Athens for the games this weekend. It all starts on Friday at 6 o'clock with baseball's first game against Eastern Michigan Eagles. Then on Saturday, the Ohio softball is set to have a doubleheader against the Ball State Cardinals starting at 1 o'clock. Baseball will be far behind with first pitch set at 2 in their second game against Eastern Michigan. And finally on Sunday, both teams will wrap up their 3-game series against Eastern Michigan and Ball State with the softball starting at 12 o'clock. Athens, Ohio should be ready for this full weekend of Bobcats action. That's all for me at sports. Back to Brenna at the desk.
Thank you, Peyton. Finally tonight, the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium says it regained its most important accreditation. It was granted full accreditation by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums today after almost a year and a half since being denied. The zoo's president and chief executive officer said the zoo is a much stronger institution following restructuring of its animal care program and development of more than 30 new financial policies and procedures. Now to Erin Ashley with a final look at our weather.
Thank you, Brenna, and don't put away the winter coat just yet. Those temperatures are hovering just above freezing. Clouds are going to stick around even into tomorrow a little bit. Expect those clouds to start rolling out as soon as tomorrow afternoon, actually, and that temperature is going to climb to the low 50s, a little chillier than what we saw today. But there's what we're looking at right now, that low temperature overnight tomorrow into Wednesday. You're definitely going to want to bundle up because that temperature is sitting just below the freezing point. Here's a look at your week ahead. Enjoy these sunny skies while you can, because by Friday, expect another system to push through the area, and we have a lot of rain coming through, and those temperatures are looking quite nice in the mid to upper 60s. But again, all that rain with the weekend is coming with a cold frontal passage, and that is going to cause temperatures to dip early on into next week, even on Sunday. So actually, you're going to want to need the umbrella as soon as Friday once again.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Brendan Nye. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And we'll leave you tonight with a lookout of College Green. Have a great night.
Support comes from Vinton County National Bank. Whether it's making room for baby, that dream car, or saving for the future, they can lend a hand. Information for local branches at vcnbfamily.bank.